Hey, everybody, give me just a second as I get everything worked out here. Do. Alrighty. I'm always trying to make sure that I post this out to my page as well as I'm starting, because I take it straight from the Matrix Minds and post it over. This is Breaking the Cage. It is Astrology TV from the Matrix Mind Media. And this is, dude, we're actually in October. I can't believe that we're already in October. But we're definitely coming into like go time. All right, people? We are definitely coming into go time with the energies. This is October. It's Samhain or Halloween, however you want to see it. We're coming into, as they like to say, when the veil thins, even though I kind of am like the veil's gone. But the energies are ripe. They are ripe. And not to mention, we're not just going to have a normal Halloween this month, but you're having what is considered a partial solar eclipse. It's going to come in on the new moon at the end of the month. That kind of shifts the energy for the entire month, just knowing that that solar eclipse is there. So we're taking a lot of changes, and I'm going to get into everything in just a second. But before I do get into, what the what my spirits are giving me to give to us for the week, as well as the blueprint and reading of the astrology in general, I always try to go out there and make sure that, I'm giving Matt some props. Everybody who follows the Matrix Mind Media knows that Matt works purely on donation. And so if you have any extra to give, you love watching his shows, show some love. And if you're not one that's just got them comfortable with showing love in just the donation, remember he has the swag shop where he has t-shirts, and I think he even has tote bags and cups or mugs and stuff. So, he gets a portion of anything that you would purchase that's Matrix Mind memorabilia or, apparel, so to speak. So he gets a portion of that, and everything he gets goes to buying everything he puts into for the show. And with that being said, let me get into a little bit of my own information before we really start getting into this week's Breaking of the Cage. Now, like I said, this month is going to be very drastic in energy. It can be very good, but it is very drastic, and you'll understand when I get into explaining it here in a minute when I start this week, because I'm starting the month of October. I do have a new thing out that's called the Moon Phase Workshops, and they are one-on-one. So it's not like you're getting just some, average moon phase information. I will specifically be working with you one-on-one during the week of each moon phase. And you could always buy them for just the full moon, just the new moon, or for the entire month. I would be working with you directly on ritual work, helping you figure out what is best for you according to your actual astrology. So I'm pulling up your transiting charts. I'm looking at your information from the chart. I'm speaking directly to you and helping you work through this the best way that you can. I just want you guys to know that information is all in the description box, or you can find it all on my Facebook page and so forth, as well as I have, the angel and your angel team and light ray readings, which is more or less a file letting you know exactly who your angel team is, along with exactly what rays you are of. You hear people all the time speaking of, they're a blue ray, or they're, a purple ray, or they're of the second ray, or this or that. And this is directly telling you you're more than one ray. You have several different in it, plus the day that you were born or issued an angel, so to speak. So it gives you an idea of the energies of the angels and what is going on in your life as to who to ask for that assistance from, because they're actually there for that, but they don't help if you don't ask. That's just the way that goes. As well as I have just created an I'm still working on it and still keep adding to it, but I have just created my own little apparel line with t-shirts and so forth, t-shirts and sweatshirts. You can find that all in the description box. Most of that is pointed towards, the Halloween or Samhain energy right now. But I'm probably going to keep a lot of those, even though they may shift in colors and change. And I plan on changing with the seasons what the shirts are going to be. But they are definitely along the line of the spiritual energy, the witchy energy, the shaman energy, and shirts along that kind of a line. So with that being said, I'm just making sure that you can find that information, or you can get your one-on-one appointments or mentorship with me as well. You can locate all of that on my own Facebook pages. I have my Etsy shop. If you are a Matrix Mind Media, if you purchase anything from the Matrix Mind, purchase anything from my Etsy shop, please remember you get 20% off if you put Matrix Minds in the coupon area at all caps. It must be in all caps or it will not be accepted. But it's Matrix Minds, and certain things there are, at 20% off. Not everything, but certain things. With that being said, let me have a sip of my drink, and I'm going to start what this week is really about in this month. Yeah, I like my super big jug. This super big jug goes with me everywhere, people. Okay. I know many of you watch TikTok and so forth, and I am just you keep seeing like all the little TikTok things that are coming out, and what Spirit is giving me, which is just funny, by the way, that it's just the way they communicate to me, because it's the way my head works, and they know how to make my head work with what they're saying. But I am just getting for this month the saying that goes with so many of those TikToks: we are going to abracadabra these bitches. But it makes a lot of sense, because if you get into the spiritual energy of the idea of magic, of abracadabra, it is speaking about the manifestation you speak. And this week is definitely in that energy, but the whole month is going through that energy. Remind you, I was saying you have a partial solar eclipse, which is going to be in Scorpio in the new moon at the end of the month, right before Halloween or Samhain. That right there says a lot about what the month is going to be. You're coming up to a full moon on the 9th, which is on Sunday. So this is the energy building for your normal full moon. But this is no normal full moon simply because you have the solar eclipse. Partial or not, it's still solar eclipse energy. Main difference is it's not seen throughout the whole world. It's definitely not going to be seen as well in like the United States and so forth. But the energy is still here on the planet. All right. Your full moons a lot of time have to do with release, surrender, and let go, which is what we're doing. But what Spirit is giving me, along with that abracadabra, these bitches, is illumination, and oh my God, some more illumination. But remember, when you look at it from a spiritual point of view, a spiritual perspective, illumination is bringing light to the situation. However, I will say 1,000,000 times for everybody when I'm dealing with them, people still have it stuck in their head when they're thinking of, light coming in, or spiritual light work, or light workers and stuff. They get the like kumbaya, idea. They get the ooey gooey, soft and chewy. Like, it makes me feel good inside, that everything is going to be good. There's so much light. I'm in the light. Fairy bull. And what I mean by that is illumination usually is knocking out all of the darkness, is forcing it into the light so that it can be dissolved. It can be, gotten rid of. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, when you think of angels, a lot of people still have that idea in their mind of angels and wings or cherubs, playing, a harp in the sky. No, angels are warriors. They don't come with just, kumbaya feeling energy. They come in knocking shit out of the way, and they come knocking things all around because they're forcing the light to come out. So that you have to see it. And what they're giving me directly is, we aren't putting up with any more false light. We aren't putting up with the fact of so many people on this planet. And I keep explaining to everybody, we have been taught wrong for so long. We have been taught that this is what a relationship looks like. This is what a relationship is, what you have to accept in a relationship. This is the way you should feel in a relationship. This is what, society says to us, and how we are molded and we are programmed to accept it. And I keep telling everybody, as you start to come into your true authentic self, you start to come into true goodness, understanding unconditional love, the light energy, you're starting to realize you come into positions of something that's good for you, but it feels foreign. I'll use a friend of mine. I was talking to her the other day, and she was saying how she'd worked at this place for so long. It was like 7 days a week almost, in many cases it was 7 days a week. And she now is at a point where she gets to have, 2 days a week off. But from time to time, she was programmed that it had to be done, that you had to be responsible. You had to be here. Somebody had to cover this building. Somebody had to cover this shift for so long that she finds herself now on days that she's off and doesn't have anything to do with herself. She feels guilty because she has time for her. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about, though. I'm like, this is where we've been programmed that society had to be a certain way, that this was acceptable. But it's not. That was fake illusion of light, fake illusion of what was needed and what was good. And when we start to actually give ourselves what is good, we feel foreign to that. Like, I don't know what this is about. This is odd. And we have to learn to love ourselves the way we were supposed to. We have to learn to give ourselves that self-respect, self-love, dignity that we were supposed to have before the world started beating up on us. This is why I keep using the word muchierness lately. And I'll admit, I stole it from Alice in Wonderland, for those of you who haven't been following me, from one of the Alice in Wonderland movies, when, it's not a cartoon, it's a movie. When she went back, and I think it was the first Alice in Wonderland movie, and she went back, and the Mad Hatter just keeps saying to her, when you was a kid, you were here the first time, you were just so much more muchier. Before the world beat you down, and you still were your inner kid, you were still excited and ready to explore. We're learning to understand where we are lacking in our muchierness, where we're still believing in the illusion of false light, and where it has to be shattered. With the solar eclipse coming in Scorpio at the end of the month, this is saying illumination is going to hit below the belt. And I will admit that the darker energies, are those entities that are of negative energy, are all like, because they're waiting for you to get in that negative thinking process. Now, hear me. That has a lot to do with the fact Mercury went retro. Mercury came out of retrograde today. And a lot of people just want to blame Mercury for the negative energies. You got to remember, you've had 9 planets in retrograde. Mercury is just your communication, but it came out of retrograde today. But that doesn't mean that you're clear of its energy yet. You're still in the shadow. Shadow energy is looking at the darker aspects. Technically, Mercury retrograde coming into direct energy, you're looking at shadow aspects, shadow thinking, shadow projection of your inner communication as it goes from inward to outward, still picking apart the darker aspects of things for approximately 2 weeks. Now, here the kicker is, you have Pluto that is about to go direct, and Saturn at the end of the month, right before that eclipse, I believe, is about to go direct too. So you have Saturn and Pluto, which are at the punch you in the gut level of going, hey, I've been trying to teach you this lesson. I'm out of time. I don't have any more time to teach you this lesson. Now my only option is to hit you underneath the belt and make you go, oh shit, I have to make these changes. Saturn is all about rules, laws, and boundaries in the outer community. your groups, your memberships, what you're a part of, your dreams, your goals, your ambitions? And are you having the time, the self-projection belief in really working on those goals, dreams, and ambitions? Or is the groups and the memberships that you're part of taking you from your dreams or beating down on them? It has a lot to do with the rules, the walls, and the boundaries of what we are projecting outside of us as to what we allow to come in and either help influence us to feel strong, or where we're self-sabotaging and holding on to that idea of this is the way things have to be, and allowing these groups and memberships that we're a part of to actually not serve us. So it's an idea of what you're looking at. Pluto is in the 10th house in retrograde. Still, like I said, they're coming out of these energies right now. They're starting to turn, and they're going to go shadow as well. So we're looking at the darker aspects. You missed the freaking memo. And what I mean by that is they've been in retrograde for a while. If you haven't gotten the lesson yet, it's punching you in the gut with that, like, well, you missed the memo. So let me make sure to slap you and put you in place, hit you under the gut real fast, because I'm trying to put you on the right path. And that's what I mean by the illumination. The illumination is not there to harm you, but it's there so that you can abracadabra these bitches. So you can understand what you have to change, and then you can breathe that into reality, because Spirit is reminding me that there is a ton of bitterness and blame going on, a ton of still not truly speaking how you truly feel or understanding how you truly feel, still not trusting in yourself 100%, which then is going into the manifestation and creating in a negative way. And this week, along with this entire month, because of the type of energy that we have, like I said, it is very important for you to be on your manifestation and realize what you're speaking out, what you're thinking, and what you're manifesting, because ultimately you're the only one responsible for what you manifest. You do create your own reality. So understanding where you're working against yourself. Now, Spirit reminds me that this is also, they give me the number 6, 7, and 8. Now, anytime they give me a sequence that's like 6, 7, 8, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, this means follow the steps. Follow the steps. You are being shown the steps to take. If you can slow down and acknowledge when they are being shown to you. Not to mention that in the astrology, mainly all of the energy seems to be focusing at the 6th, 7th, and 8th house. And this has a lot to do with understanding the steps that you are taking, but understanding it has everything to do with that 6th, 7th, and 8th house, which is your daily routines. I say this all the time. Your most powerful manifestation comes from your mundane tasks. You're mundane. The only reason it's mundane is you do it so repetitively, you don't even realize that you do it. And it has so much more power in your unconscious energy as to what you're manifesting. People, places, and things of energies that you consume. Then you're going into the 7th house, which is the relationships. The 8th house, which are the relationships possible to blossom and bloom, or are they falling apart and blowing up in your face? And why? And why is 6, 7, and 8? It has to do with passion, love, family, and balance. It has to do with, most importantly, appreciation. Are you being appreciated, and are you showing appreciation? Acknowledge this in these steps. Appreciation of one another and what you bring to the table. Not just on a materialistic level, though. This is on a soulful level. What do they bring to your soul? What do they bring to your reality? What do they bring to your life? Do they fill you with things that are in service and good for you, or not? Are you getting the appreciation that you deserve? Passion, love, family, and balance. This also speaks of your soul tribe, people. That marks whether it is successful for growth or not. If the appreciation is not there, you're being shown where there's a problem with the success of growth. Sorry, sometimes it hurts, but this is what we need to see, what we need to clear up in order to move forward. It is also paying attention to the manifestation of what's going on in your thinking process within these relationships, your daily mundane tasks, your passion, your love, your family, your balance of the relationships, and where's your thinking? Is there any hope left? Because that thinking process has a lot to do with what you're going to be speaking into reality, so you can abracadabra these bitches. What they remind me also is relationships have closeness, and then they have wedges. Closeness is because you're getting raw and real with the truth. And even though it may hurt, because we have to deal with things about ourselves in relationships that we don't always like to see, parts of ourselves that we are hiding from, that we are unaware of or unconscious to, as we get closer to one another in these relationships, it builds strength, which then brings us success. So relationships are closer. But when wedges are being built, it's not just ego that's there. It's the false light. It's the idea, like I say all the time, is there a manipulation going on in the relationship? Is it genuine? Is it from the heart? Or is there an agenda behind the subject? Is the wedge showing you the false light? Is the wedge showing you who's fake and who's still wearing a mask and who's not? These are all lessons in that stepping stones of the 6, 7, and 8 that they're explaining to me, which is showing you, is there hope for the relationships, for your groups, your memberships that you're a part of, or are you falsely telling yourself a lie, and then you're actually creating self-sabotage? Because what Spirit reminds me is this month also has a lot to do with, and this full moon has a lot to do with the Alpha and Omega energy. Now hear me out. You have the full moon that's coming in Aries. You have Jupiter and Chiron, which is still in retrograde in Aries, the first house, the beginning. You have still Neptune. A lot of these energies are going from that 6, 7, and 8 in the universal scale and speaking directly to the beginning and the end, the 12th house and the first house. The full moon in Aries, passion, action, aggression, fire, starting to come into something new, but based off of what the lesson is learned in the 12th house with Neptune here still in retrograde. So this is saying the illumination is there. Are you seeing it? Are you speaking the abracadabra? Are you speaking out the change? Or are you still holding on to the comfortability, and you're afraid to face the uncomfortable, unusual, foreign energy of something that's good? So you're looking at the beginning and the end all month long, though. This isn't just a full moon where we release, surrender, and let go. We are doing that because it's a full moon, but it's a fire blood full moon with a partial solar eclipse taking place for the new moon in Scorpio, which is all about transformational change, all about South Node being there as well, teaching you what you are very good at, but it does you no good. So are you going to let the dead to the dead and move into the light? There's only a certain amount of time. Doors are open. This is one of those times where it is open, but it's ultimately up to you to abracadabra. It's up to you to make sure you're being responsible for your manifestation and your thinking process and moving it forward. No more allowing the fake light to wedge funk in there. And like I said, you're having a lot of those negative energies. Mercury retrograde just went direct. It's in shadow. You have Pluto, which is getting ready to go direct. You have Saturn, which is getting ready to go direct. All of this is punching below the gut, showing illumination of the changes that have to be made. We are out of time. Coming into the solar eclipse, and the solar eclipse marks, I'm not putting up with it anymore. Extra hard punch in the gut. We are forcing the light in. And like I said, abracadabra, these bitches is what spirit is giving me. But the darkness is going, that's right. And I'm saying it like that because literally there's so many of you who are still in your thinking process in negative ways, who are still in that bitterness and blame and pointing fingers and not really being responsible and taking, holding on to the heaviness, holding on to the powerlessness, holding on to the frustration of what's coming in, that you're going to accidentally self-sabotage. And I'm saying it to you this way because those negative energies are waiting to feed on you and make sure you can't. So this is up to you to make sure that you are thinking properly into how to make you move forward. Now, as I move into the blueprint's kind of interesting. It is shifting a little bit. It hasn't been shifting very much. The blueprint is the actual human body. Now, each one of you, because I rewrote Astrological Anatomy last year, in case you haven't been following me, and each person has their own individual blueprint, meaning the planets are on certain organs. Everything that is above and below is also inside of you. And every planet, you have the universe inside of you. That is part of your oneness, part of your oneness, your source connection. And as you understand and I do the blueprints for people individually. You can always contact me if you want your own personal blueprint, because it helps you understand also illnesses and problems that you can cause and create within your own body, within your own organs, within other things, by understanding where the blueprint is trying to teach you on a much more molecular level about yourself and how to be more high vibrational. So depending on where you were, when you were born, your astrological energy, we put it in the human body. And when we put it in the human body, according to your astrology, I place it on the organs and then I channel it. I give you that information. Now, on a universal scale, whatever is happening right now in the transit is the moving forward, what we are dealing with right now as we speak. The blueprint at this time is also speaking to each and every one of you. So technically you have two blueprints at any given time, the one that is moving and the one you were born with. The one that is moving right now has a lot to do, and I'll be over and over again. And I'm going to start really getting into a lot more of the chakra work in the head, because people just want to go, there's the like throat chakra, there's the third eye and the crown. No, there's more chakras all up in this that you all realize. And the mainstream still has so much of this false information that they're still drilling in on you. And we are past baby steps. We are past baby steps. It's time to really start understanding ourselves. And you're going to see I'm going to start putting more stuff out about that. But the zeal point, I am speaking over and over again about, it has everything to do with how high your vibration can be or how low it can be. And the energies that you are setting up and down, literally, you're through your spinal cord into your different chakras, has a lot to do with what you see, hear, and understand as you're understanding it in your brain. The zeal point has a lot to do with this. Now, you have Jupiter, which is in retrograde, which is on the midbrain. It has a lot to do with regulating the understanding and ability for your audio, your speaking, as well as your vision. Jupiter's in retrograde. It is the abundance. It is the higher knowledge. It is your manifestation going from inside of you, not necessarily thinking outwardly. Are you in your head too much? Is this becoming self-sabotage? Are you viewing the world around you? And what are you speaking to the world that you are part of, that you are ultimately creating? Are you viewing it from a lower perspective or a higher perspective? Because that sends a signal directly to the zeal point saying, hey, we're high vibrational or we're low vibrational. We're ready for higher vibrations and the understanding of that like fountain of information to come in. Or no, we're cut off from it. We're going to send lower vibrations down and we're actually open for psychic attack. You have Chiron, which is the wounded healer here in Aries as well, which is on the frontal lobe. The frontal lobe is speaking to how you socially act, your social actions. It is your problem solving and thinking. Chiron's the wounded healer. It's called the wounded healer because it's great at helping others, not so great at helping itself. Aries energy, a brand new place to start something great. But Aries gets frustrated and gives up quick. It wants what it wants, and it wants it right now. And if it doesn't get it right now, it gets frustrated, and it just blows off steam. This is what we're talking about. What is your thinking process? How is your problem solving? What are you viewing? How are you speaking? Because when we get into the second part of the blueprint, Uranus is literally still on the lymph nodes, but now it's also moving into the tonsils, into the throat itself. And then you have the North Node, which is on the actual vocal cords. What you're speaking into reality, whether you are conscious to it or not, you are creating. And this is what I'm talking about, the illumination of your abracadabra, these bitches. You are creating more from your unconscious right now than you realize, and you need to bring it into your consciousness, so that you can be aware of if you're creating self-sabotage, shut that shit down and turn it around so that it works for you, not against you. Then you have your Mars is literally on the upper arms and the spine. Literally, we're talking about everything going to the zeal point. How is the problem solving taking place? How is the communication being spoken? And how are you viewing and interpreting the energies around you, sending the signal up and down the spinal cord, opening up the chakras to, hey, what's the information we're receiving? And are we high vibrational or low vibrational? All according to that unconscious thinking and what you speak. Like I said, Mercury retrograde has a lot to do with us speaking word vomit. But the shadow, even though it went out of retrograde and it's in shadow right now, shadow looks at the darker aspects. So do not allow those darker aspects to self-sabotage your manifestation and throw you back extra steps to force more illumination. You still have Pluto, which is about to go retrograde, about to go direct. It'll be in shadow, and Uranus. This is finding your muchierness. Learning how to stand up for yourself, but doing it the right way, so that you're able to allow that muchierness to come out fluid in your spiritual flame instead of manipulative, like attack. Because that's the ultimate side of this right now. If you're sending out the attack, you're actually in a low vibration. You're not in your power. So this is being able to control your brain. Not to mention Mars, like I said, is the spinal cord this week and the upper arms. But the arms also have a lot to do with the heart chakra. Mars is passion, action, aggression, fire. It is also, I say a lot of times, where your heart and your sacral chakra are going to be speaking to you. Because your warrior, which is Mars, has to have courage first. Your inner warrior also, I always say, must connect with that inner belly dancer. You can be the biggest, fattest sumo wrestler, but if you feel good about you, then good. But if you don't feel good about you, then you know you're lying to yourself. When you look in the mirror and you're not like, yeah, I look pretty good. You're like, ugh. You lack in your dignity. You lack in your self-respect. You lack in your self-love when you don't feel good about you. When you actually look at yourself and put yourself down, you are telling your soul that I'm not good enough, and this shit needs to stop. The muchierness is, I say all the time, what is it? I've heard them saying, nobody should be telling you to dampen who you are, to lower who you are. I will be the first one to admit, I tell my friends and family, because I'm a Leo, I'm loud and I'm obnoxious. I don't realize how loud and obnoxious I am, but I'm not trying to not be me. But I also want to be respectful, but I don't realize how loud I can be often. And I tell them, if I'm getting too loud, like way too loud, and to where it's like not about, I don't really care if I make someone else feel uncomfortable, but I don't need to be so big that I also take up all the space and make nobody else want to be around. I need to understand me and realize when my power is getting away from me. So I tell people when I'm getting too loud and just regular conversation, I'm like, just say echo. Just say echo, because I'm getting bigger and I'm taking over, and I'm not really giving somebody else an opportunity. And I don't mean to be that way. But what I'm saying is, don't lower who you are for someone else to feel good about themselves. No. But acknowledge when you're also not in control of your own energy. When you're allowing it to just, like they say, check your energy at the door. Well, if you don't realize that you are just spitting out energy that's like funk and it's just spewing everywhere, you're not in charge of your energy. And this is what I mean when I tell my friends, say echo. And I'll realize I don't necessarily need to shut up, but I also don't need to take over. Anyway, if you cannot feel good about yourself, then how are you ever going to be the warrior? And then how is your heart going to be able to handle the sacral chakra of feeling good about yourself as well as loving yourself and others? This has a lot to do with the energies that you're seeing this week. The energies of that zeal point, your throat chakra, actually speaking it. Can you speak it? Are you speaking from your heart or from aggressive frustration? Lilith is in the pancreas, Mercury is in the liver, and you have the Sun and Venus, which more or less is in the kidneys. So you're going straight down the chakras. You are setting the foundation. We are removing, waste that doesn't serve us. And then when we get into that Pluto energy, Pluto is literally in the knees. And let's just look here. The chakra that is in the knees deals directly with jealousy, feelings of inadequacy, inferiority, and helplessness. Then we're looking at Saturn, which is in Aquarius, which is in the calves and the ankles. And this is speaking about prolonged confusion and domination, where you don't feel like you're in your power. It gives way to instinctive willfulness. And what I mean is, I will push and shove so that I can be heard. Are you coming out of your power and into that ego energy and forcing it upon others, like trying to force it down their throat? But then that's not you and your power. That's you and your fear. And your knees and your ankles and your calves. Are they giving you any problems or anything in that area? Because that's also when the blueprint is trying to warn you. Like I said, in any of these areas that I'm talking about, when you're having chakra blockages or, your knees keep giving out, it's saying that you're having a problem dealing with these areas and these truths. Now, as I move into the astrology for the week, and turn my page back here, you do have a lot of positive energy, but it is, like I said, there's a lot of people overcoming disappointments within themselves or the relationships, and learning how to trust in their true feelings, what they truly need versus what they want. And I say all the time when Spirit is speaking to me for my clients, what you want and what you need are often two separate situations. And understanding what you want versus what you need has a lot to do with helping you not feel heavy, helping you come over your insecurity, getting over fear, and help you believe in yourself, illuminating yourself, finding that much-earness. You have Mars, which is getting along great with Saturn. Again, Saturn's in that. I'm running out of time to teach you this lesson. And it is getting along great with the Sun and Venus. So you're talking about the 3rd house, the 11th house, and the 7th house. This is the communication of what's up close and personal, important with it, and what is up close, personally important to you within these relationships with these people. And the 11th house specifically speaks of, is it working to serve you, these relationships? Because if they're serving you, they're not manipulating you. This is about being there to support each other, their goals, dreams, and ambitions, appreciating each other and what they bring to the table. And how is the communication coming out? And if you're not being appreciated, are you even bothering to speak up and say how that makes you feel? Because maybe they need to hear it. And then maybe you also need to say it so you can decide if it's even really important. What you need and what you want are often two separate things. And the people, places, and things, our committees, our groups, our relationships that we are part of our daily mundane tasks and the energies that we are manifesting. The communication within them can make or break the relationships. Are they successful because you're feeling close? Or is there a wedge? And if so, why? Explore that wedge and understand it so that you can know what you need to do. We're coming to a full moon and the beginning and the end, going from Pisces into Aries, starting a new beginning by letting go of the dead. Mercury is getting along great with Pluto, but Mercury's in shadow. That is a wonderful thing, but that is not going to feel like a wonderful thing. Mercury is in the 6th house. Those mundane tasks, your daily routines. Where are you in your own way? Where's your routines, your people, places, and things of energy, of diet that you consume every day? Where does it serve you and where is it harming you? Your mundane tasks, people, places, and things. Speaking directly to the outer world. And Pluto. Pluto is the source connection of your light. Letting go of what's not serving you, what's keeping you from your much-earness, where you keep giving the authority away and you keep drowning that much-earness with more stuff on top to make you heavy so you can't find it. This communication is getting along great, but with it getting along great, it's most likely also going to be showing you the illumination of where there is a problem so that you can correct the problem. Not so you can sit in a pity party, but so that you can understand and learn how to shift it and bring the power back to you in the outer authority while you're allowing yourself to be bigger and in your much-earness. Neptune is getting along great with Lilith. Neptune is in retrograde, but Lilith is not powerful in Cancer. Lilith is usually, I say, is an ally about standing in your power, standing in your fire. She has enough ego to make you love yourself. To be like, what the? No, I'm not going to put up with this from you. But she can go a little bit overboard normally. But see, in Cancer is a mothering, a nurturing sign. Lilith here is more of, let me just give my love away, and she's losing herself. It is highly important to stand in your independence here, to not over nurture. It is always good to love others, but when your loving of others is actually harming yourself, it's not good anymore. That's a lie. That's false light. And we are talking about the 12th house, Neptune, retrograde, your magic, giving energy away that's not serving you, that's actually making you not love yourself and stay in things that don't serve you. And are you acknowledging this? Because Lilith, like I said, needs to be in her independence here, but she's not. And that energy is speaking directly to the South Node. This is a positive energy, even though, like you said, it's going to hit beneath the belt, because the South Node is everything you're good at, but it doesn't serve you anymore. Where are you so used to your comfortable situation that you're not growing? Where are you standing still? Complacent is what Spirit just said. Where are you complacent, stagnant within these relationships? Where is there no rules, no boundaries? Where is, they're pushing on you and you just give and give? Where are you losing yourself in the relationship? And this should be showing you how to appropriately be just as balanced in the relationship by showing you where it's out of balance. Now, you have 2 T-squares that are running. T-squares are negative energies, but I don't like to say it as negative as much as I do challenging. What I like to look at it is the planets are just disagreeing about what they want to do. They all want to come up with a good idea, but they can't seem to get along about how to do that. And that is what's going on inside of you when you have a T-square. And it is your Neptune energy is not getting along with your Mars, which is also not getting along with Mercury. Like I said, Mercury just went into shadow. It is your communication with Mars in the 3rd house of communication. Courage, passion, action, aggression. Are you feeling instinctive to bite off the head of someone else because you're having problems internally that you can't figure out, that you're feeling pushed and shoved up against the wall? Or are you being able to understand where things have got to change and communicate it of, I'm not going to do this anymore. Period. I don't have to fight. Like I said, I say this all the time when I'm dealing with people, and I've been getting this a lot lately, is people get into the negative energies, or I think I got a curse on me, or, just negative entities even. When I deal with people and I deal with removing, the fragmentations of people, or I'm trying to find it, or moving in the shaman work when I'm trying to remove spiritual intrusions. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, you can't walk into a situation of negativity when you're already negative, because then you're just like a lion ready to roar, ready to attack and attack back for your protection. But what's going to happen is you're in that fear, you're in that anxiety, you're in that doubt, you're in that stubborn, prideful energy that makes you miss very important keys because you're too ready to react. And when you're in your power, it's so much more like the movie of The Matrix. Like Neo at the end of the first one, when you finally realize, I don't have to dodge your bullets. I simply said no. I am now creating my reality. There's a big difference between in that power and trying to get there, but doing it wrong, and it's actually self-sabotaging. That's part of that abracadabra these bitches of what they're trying to teach you right now with these energies. Do not let the negative energy get on and start giving you vampire syndrome and just start sucking and feeding on it and making more negative energy. This is a time of making sure that you're thinking clearly and understanding who you are and what you are breathing into reality. Like I said, it is Neptune, your magic, 12th house, the end and the beginning coming into a full moon, the alpha, the omega, the end of a cycle, the beginning of a cycle, or we're going to restart a cycle. How are you creating your magic according to where you are on your soul fire, where you are in your muchierness? By understanding what you're unconscious to that's being brought to your light and illuminated so that you can create possible magic by understanding your Mars, your warrior, your passion, your action, your courage, and your communication, and how are you doing it? Are you a wise warrior who is going to stand the test of time? Or are you one that's going to bat off the mouth and get yourself killed in the situation? Then it's speaking directly to the South Node. Are you going to give in? Will you quickly make the comments and then go, oh, I'm sorry, and then renege more or less on everything that you said and go back against yourself? This is about security in yourself. Period. You have the North Node and Uranus, which is not getting along with Saturn, your rules, walls, and boundaries, your outer committee, your outer committees, groups, memberships that serve your goals, dreams, and ambitions. The North Node is your vocal cords. The Uranus and the North Node is your vocal cords, speaking directly about speaking it into reality by understanding your independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, freedom, and where do you feel liberated? Where do you have that dignity? Where are you giving it away? And then it's directly speaking to the South Node of where you keep having the same bad habits that don't serve you but keep you complacent. This is all about soul discovery and action and motivation in the outer world, and how will you approach the situation as we come to the new full moon and then work our way into that solar eclipse and new moon in Scorpio, and then into Samhain or Halloween energy, because that alone in itself has its own energy. You have also Venus and the Sun, which is not getting along with Chiron, the wounded healer, starting the new cycle, going, I still don't know how to start it. I'm having trouble believing in me, I think, but maybe I don't know. That's really what Chiron is here. It wants to start a new, fresh start, but it has trouble believing in it. It starts this brilliant idea, but then it's left too long. Can I figure it out? You know what? I'm not going to do it. The Sun is illuminating where you keep giving up. Venus is illuminating where you keep giving up because you're insecure about it. And it's in the 7th house. Where's the relationships make you question your own authority? Make you question stepping up to the plate and getting back in the game. You have Lilith, which is not getting along with Pluto. Again, Lilith in the 4th house is your inner emotional security. But here, she gives it all away. She's so nurturing that she is actually not loving herself, and she is neglecting what is necessary to move forward. Pluto and her are not getting along because Pluto is going, this is not time to neglect yourself for the sake of others. This is the time to love yourself and understand where you're in your own way, because it's foreign to you, but where you can actually have so much more if you just stay the process. But get out of your negative thinking. Understand that is nothing more than a lesson, 6, 7, and 8, stepping stepping, stepping signs, stepping steps to get you to the next step. Which brings me right back to where we started with passion, love, family, balance, and appreciation for one another either marks success and growth, or it shows you where it's going to cause a wedge and it's not going to continue to move forward. It's up to you. I love you guys. I'll see you next week. Bye.